U.S. just seized a massive Venezuelan oil tanker in the Caribbean, boarding it by helicopter, guns drawn, and towing it away. A message sent straight to Russia and China, and it didn't stop there. Washington pushed its most advanced carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, into the region. Night operations, Super Hornets and Afterburner, and destroyers locking the entire Caribbean like a steel cage. Now, another question echoes worldwide. If the U.S. moved from drug raids to a full invasion, could China and Russia actually save Venezuela? On paper, yes. The world's biggest nuclear powers backing the nation with the biggest oil reserves. But look at the map. China and Russia are an ocean away. No bases near Venezuela's border, and no safe supply lines. The U.S. sits right next door, with aircraft carriers, destroyers, and air bases already in range. Beijing and Moscow can send weapons, drones, intelligence, but if the U.S. cuts the air and sea routes, Venezuela could collapse in just a few days, because helping is easy. Saving it means risking World War III.
Mr. President, China, Russia, and Iran have interests in Venezuela. How does this operation affect your relationships with them when it comes to the oil and the drugs?
And Russia, Russia when we get things straightened out. But in terms of other countries that want oil, we're in the oil business. We're going to sell it to them. We're not going to say we're not going to give it to them. In other words, we'll be selling oil probably in much larger doses because they couldn't produce very much because their infrastructure was so bad. So we'll be selling large amounts of oil to other countries, many of whom are using it now, but I would say many more will come.
Shalom. I want to give all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, HaKodash, double honors to the elders and apostles, great best, don't tell me the truth and sincerity, citations to the hopeful that is birth of the fourth and the third. All right, now this is going to be entitled Rumors, Awards, and the pride of Esau, okay? So I'm going to bring out some couple of scriptures. The first clip was how basically, the attack, what would happen, what would happen if U.S., stopped, if U.S. actually, attacked Venezuela, instead of drug raids, how would Russia, China react, okay? But in this clip right here, it basically was going to how does U.S. operation on Venezuela affect relations with China and Russia, and Trump basically said, he got control of the country, he gonna be willing to, trade oil, okay? All right, and that the relation with China and Russia basically, they're his enemies, okay? They don't like him, right? And the Lord is going to put it in the heart of China and Russia, of President Xi and President Putin, to throw nukes, to shoot nukes on Babylon the Great, because this horse is going to get burned by fire. So I'm going to break out some scriptures. Let's start here in Matthew 24. Matthew 24 and 6 reads, "Ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." Right. The end is not yet. How do we know the end is not yet? Okay, because we're hearing of wars, we're hearing we're hearing rumors of wars, we're hearing World War III. Okay. The MOTB hasn't been made mandatory. The mark of the beast, right, has not been made mandatory on a global scale, right? And that's a big prophecy that needs to happen before World War III can start. The financial system got to collapse. The dollar got to collapse, okay? And the chip, a microchip, has to be made mandatory, okay? The RFID, okay? which is a microchip that is the size of a grain of rice, has to be implemented on a mass scale. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Okay, all these things are beginning of sorrow. There's been diseases. Okay, that bring earthquakes in diverse places. Okay, the famine is gonna be caused by a hyperinflation, right? Where people can't go to the grocery stores because the prices are just too high, food just too high, lack of food supply. Worker strikes. Okay, all these are the beginning of sorrows. Okay, so we know that we are in the beginning of sorrows. Right, it's not gonna get. They want peace. Okay, Trump. His 2026 resolution was to have peace. Right, to have world peace. Okay, that was his 2026 resolution, to have world peace. Right, but what did the Lord said? The Lord said that these things are the beginning of sorrows. Right. Okay. This is Habakkuk 2 and 4. The point is in the fifth verse. It reads, "Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith." Okay, right. So this refers to the wicked. Okay, he is not, his soul which is lifted up, meaning his proudness, right, is not upright. Is not upright in him, meaning it's not righteous, right? They're wicked. Okay. But the just shall live by his faith, right? The righteous, the elect gonna live by their faith in who? The Lord, Yahweh. Yeah, also because he transgresses by one, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and as death cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto all people, right? This is why miracle is known as the melting pot of culture, right? Babylon the Great is known as the melting pot of culture, right? And just going back to the first part of this verse, he transgresses by one. He's a proud man, neither keepeth at home. Okay, and we just seen an example, right? Esau going to these foreign nation in Venezuela, right, and just kidnapping the president. Okay, and he is as death, and it cannot be satisfied, but gather unto him all nations and he unto all people. Right. This devil cannot be satisfied because what? He said that he gonna go to Colombia, okay, Cuba, Mexico, Greenland, okay, all these sovereign nations, okay, to conquer, to rule, right? So Job 9:24, right? The world given into the hand of wicked, okay. Esau and these banker elites, control this world, okay. Because what? Nate Rothschild, he praised President Trump, okay, kidnapping, the Venezuela president, right? And in Venezuela doesn't have a central bank, okay? Like they don't have a Rothschild central bank, okay? So in Venezuela, they are Israelites, okay? The majority of people are down there in Venezuela, okay? and around Venezuela. You know, the Asher, okay? You know, so and Ishkar. So up and down, right? So this is just a trouble, okay? You know, Jacob's trouble, Israel's trouble, right? Starting with the southern kingdom, they're gonna go all. They're gonna go to the. They're gonna start like it start starting with the northern kingdom. They're gonna go all the way up to the southern kingdom, okay? And the devil is coming down having great growth, okay? Because he knows he has a short time. That goes back to who? Ultimately, we know that's going back to Esau, okay? Who is in the spiritual incarnation of the spiritual demon Satan, okay? So I'm going to close here by giving all honor and praises to Yahweh, Bashim, Yahshua, Bashim, Lashim, and some station all.